Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Joined once again by the only self-proclaimed MCP influencer in the world, Quinn Duggan. Quinn, how you doing?
I mean, you keep saying that I'm the self-proclaimed. I wasn't self-proclaimed. This was a title that Sploosh adorned me with at one point.
Well, I mean, is there any validity in that title than if it was adorned to you by Sploosh?
I mean, it's probably more valid than if I just gave it to myself. So,
Okay, I'll let you off for that one. Quinn, we're going to take a look, aren't we? This is a video that I've had requested a fair few times. It's one I did about 6-7 months ago when I first started the channel, and it's looking at each individual leader. There's obviously a lot more now than there was 7 months ago. Some of them have had some big do-overs, and basically ranking each of them. So taking a look at each leader, what they bring to the game, how their leadership style plays, cards they've got access to, all that kind of thing, and throwing them into a tier list. So let's jump over to the tier list itself. So we've got 31 potential leaders in the game. Now, I use the word potential, Quinn, because there's an entire faction, isn't there? It's an entire affiliation in this game where anyone can be a leader. It's democracy. It's socialism at its best, people. So we've included all of them. But starting out, Quinn, with the OG himself, Captain Steve, he had a really good, or he does have a really good leadership ability. He was let down in the past by being a very underperforming 4-threat character, wasn't he? So I think I had him down as like C tier previously, something like that. Where do you think he now sits?
well, I think he skyrocketed straight up to S tier. I love me some Steve.
S tier?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I was gonna say
Like, I used to play Steve back when he was bad.
I was gonna say like
Steve.
A plus, but
S, 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 S.
we're going S for
Do it.
Steve.
Do it.
Oh, it's against my better judgment, people. It is against my better.
I am your better judgment. That's why I'm on these videos.
Is he as good as right now, as the game as it is a Steve Avengers list as competitive as a Sam Spam list?
I think it has the potential to be, yes. It's an unexplored space, but I think with New Hulk and Steve, you can do some really fucking scary things.
I think A plus, because I had him as an A, you had him as an S. A plus. S should be reserved for the absolute proven up there at the top. Speaking of proven and up there at the top, Sam, as much as S is for Sam, because I know you love to do the alphabet thing there, Quinn.
A is for America.
A is for America. A is for all day, maybe as well. But yeah, S is for Sam Spam. Love it or hate it, it is the most competitive list in the game at the moment, I think, for most situations. There are some situations where they can be beaten on certain crisis and by certain rosters. I think they're going to suffer a little bit from the complete randomness now. I think they will.
I think they don't suffer in the slightest. They can play anything.
I think they can, but
just because they don't get research base every game doesn't really impact them greatly, because Enchantress got nerfed anyway.
Yeah, she did. She did. So I think he is firmly in S tier. On to the third leader of the Avengers. That's crazy saying that. Hulkbuster. He's my favourite character of all of these three in terms of his card. His leadership ability is niche at best.
It's good against mags.
It's not useless. Like, his leadership ability is not useless.
But it's not exactly useful either.
Well, obviously he's in the Avengers, right? So his roster of characters, you can still build a very competitive or a competitive Hulkbuster squad. It's just not going to be as competitive as the other two.
Hulkbuster and She-Hulk at 18 threat seems good.
I like it. So for me, I'm like B minus C plus sort of.
Yeah, I think like because I think you have to take into consideration that he's up against Sam and Steve for that leadership spot, and I think that bumps him down into a C just because the competition. C is the competition, and that's why he gets put there.
Yeah, he's obviously still got access to all the same tactics cards, all the same characters and everything else. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot less. And then remember, guys, this is Hulkbuster as a leader and his leadership. We're not saying that Hulkbuster is a C tier character in himself because he's A. We've already done that. But in terms of his leadership and what he brings and everything else, so. The sort of OG for me from the core box, the one that I played up next, Quinn, which is Red Skull. I really like his leadership. I didn't think anything needed to change with Red Skull's card. I think it was perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Don't underestimate the value of getting a power back for attacks that normally don't generate it. It can be really good on the right characters. I'm thinking of people with beams in particular, like, Mr. Sinister paying a power for his Mystic beam and then getting a power back for each one if he manages to do damage is really, really powerful. Along with a couple of other characters as well. Marvel's really good in Cabal. Iron Man is really good in Cabal, so there's lots of out affiliation characters as well. Where do you think he ranks? Because I think I had him as a B previously. I don't think he's changed.
I think Cabal as a whole have changed a little bit. I think they've slipped down the pecking order a tad just because, Enchantress and MODOK both got nerfs in a sense. But I still think I think Cabal is still sort of B tier. He's B, maybe B minus-y, but like B for bad guy. There we go.
B for bad guy, indeed. So his counterpart or his second leader of the Cabal, Sin, kind of, I think, released around a similar time as Sam, wasn't it? And we had Sin spam, we had Sam spam. Sam spam was definitely the one that took off, even though Sin had potentially more synergy with at least one of her members being Crossbones, but it's far more situational, isn't it, than Sam's leadership ability, in that there's a lot more RNG involved. If a character gets dazed, you always get Sam's. There's RNG involved in Sin's.
Yeah. Also, Sin's is just really easy to forget.
It's the number of times where I do. She's obviously got the same. Let's not forget the size of the rosters of characters that you've got to choose from, because I think that can play a big part into it as well in terms of how competitive you can be. But I think I would say I don't think she's quite D tier. Is she D tier? Is she the first D?
No, I don't think
she is.
D-tier.
I think she's probably.
I think
she's probably C tier.
She's C minimum.
Yeah.
C for Cynthia, even though that's not how she spells it.
It's not how she spells it. No, I think she's. If we're comparing her directly to her counterpart, which is Red Skull, is Sin's Cabal more competitive than Red Skull's Cabal? I'd probably say no. Is the answer. Although Norbert used them at the team event the other week, didn't he? Very successfully. They got through to the final table and went 3-1. So good players can make them work, but as I say, it's the randomness that I don't like, which for me is not very good. Up next is Black Panther. Obviously took some big nerfs and then gained some of them back, but really they've been on the receiving end of. They're in a worse place now than what they were 6 months ago, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I think so.
So I think they were probably they were S tier when I did this 6-7 months ago. I would say they're still competitive, but I'd say they've dropped down 2 places into a B.
I was thinking exactly B. B for Black Panther.
B for Black Panther.
I'm doing this the whole video, by the way.
We're not going to be able to. Thor. Oh, I'm sad.
Yeah.
So let's look at the problems with Thor at the moment. He's a high threat leader in an affiliation full of high threat characters. Limited tactics cards,
Yep. Their one low threat character got nerfed.
Their one 3-threat character got a nerf. They're arguably the best 4-threat well, not even arguably, the best 4-threat got nerfed. They just gained Doom Prophecy, so yay. But I think Thor's Asgard are in a very bad spot at the moment. I don't mind their leadership ability.
Yeah, like the leadership ability and like Thor as a character are both like cool, but like just everything around him and the fact he's so dicey really
he really struggles. And it pains me to say it, but I think he's the first D tier that we've got at the moment.
Yeah. D for Doomed Prophecy.
D for Doomed Prophecy. Quinn, speaking of doomed, an affiliation who are most definitely not doomed, I think their entire affiliation has been untouched throughout the throughout the changes, is Mr. Miles Morales. Nice leadership, strong character, strong in-affiliation characters, some nice tactics cards, a very good 3-threat in his own right. I mean, he's S tier, right?
Yep, S for Spider-Man.
S for Spider-Man. Oh, I already know what the next one is as well. Because he's still really good. He's not quite as good as Miles. Is it A for Amazing Spider-Man?
No, it's not. I think it's B.
Oh, B for...
Oh, come on. Let's see if you can figure out where I'm going with this.
Oh, dear Lord. Go on.
Right, B for Peter B. Parker.
Oh, my dear Lord. Why B, though, Quinn? Why is there such a...
So, like, ASM is really cool, and he does a lot of stuff, but, like, just comparatively to... It's very much a Hulkbuster problem of the things he's up against are really, really good. You know, like, Hulkbuster was up against an S tier and an A tier. You know, ASM is up against an S tier. Leadership-wise, Miles is just so much more generally applicable. Like,
yeah, I think Amazing Spider-Man in your roster is very good because there are certain matchups where he is the better choice. Dishing out that slow can be crippling to certain affiliations, especially affiliations that are taller rather than wider, because it just makes them, you know, that much harder. You know, single extract can be good on Miles, but it can also be really good on ASM as well. So yeah, I'm okay with him. I'm okay with him being B. Mr. Fisk, who
Big Willie,
he's a bit of an underrated character. I always find in this game, in that he has quite a lot of text on his card, but like he doesn't have one like absolutely amazing thing that makes him stand out. But he's just solid, solid
he's
frame,
got a solid frame,
some may say. His leadership
is one of the best in the game.
I was going to say is different to almost every other every other character's leadership ability, in that it ultimately defines the way in which that affiliation is played.
Yeah. Which
not a lot of the other ones do. A lot of the other ones, you know, are handy. You know, Green Goblin's rerolls are nice because they like to murder people. So it helps with that. But really, it sets the tone, doesn't it, for Criminal Syndicate in terms of how you're going to play that affiliation, which is all about the secures. I think they are very strong. I think they're in a really good position. They've got some really nice characters.
I think with like the change to Bullseye, especially, like they are like they were already incredibly good. I think they've like peaked that upper echelon now.
A plus, S minus for me at the moment.
I'm going with S.
Yeah, S for Syndicate. Solid frame. S for solid frame. Okay, Green Goblin and Spider-Foes next. And we've covered this, Quinn, in a couple of videos with Green Goblin. Him as a character has moved up the ranking significantly. He was D. I think we had him as an A tier in the video. So him as a character, his value has gone up significantly. His leadership ability now just helps so much. Yeah, the power generation that it now produces is really, really good. they have taken a hit, right? Let's not underestimate.
Yeah, the whole
Doom Prophecy,
Carnage,
all you've
Doom
got
Prophecy, all
Carnage.
you've got
Yeah.
thing is gone. But like,
Yeah.
I think that leadership change is more than enough of like, a reimbursement for that loss. Like,
Yeah. So I think for me, I think they're A. I think they're an A tier.
I don't think they're S tier.
No.
But I do think they're A. And A is for. Come on, you can get this one.
I don't know what goes through your head. Nobody does.
A is for arch nemesis Peter Parker.
Arch nemesis. There we go. Oh. B is most definitely not for Black Bolt. Black Bolt and the Inhumans. Where do we start? They got Miss Marvel, so that's a thing. Their leadership is okay. Their tactics cards are meh. They've lost their best character in Medusa, and that's hurting them. Black Bolt as an overall package isn't good enough for a leader because he's 5 threat, right? I want to say.
He's 5 threat, yeah.
Yeah, 5 threat. He doesn't have this.
How do you not know what threat Black Bolt was?
Because you know why? Because he should be 4 threat with what he brings. Like, he's not good enough.
Well, yeah, based on his card, he should be a 4, but based on what he should be like fucking 7.
Well, yeah, there is that. So they're in a bad spot. The question is, are they in as bad a spot as Asgard's at the moment?
I think they are.
I think they are down there, unfortunately, aren't they? They're suffering from lack of characters. They're suffering from the leader is expensive and doesn't bring. If you've got an expensive leader, that's fine, but you need them to bring. You need them to be good. And you'll note there the two of the 3 5 threat leaders that we've got on the board so far are in D tier because they're just not good enough. So yeah, they suffer all round from that. Somebody who has had an indirect boost, and I think.
Whoa! I didn't do my alphabet.
Oh, go on. D is for
Dire Straits, which is what Inhumans are in.
Deary me. I was going to D is for Dark Side of the Moon, which is where they should stay. A character and a leadership and an affiliation as a whole who have had a huge boost. Yep. Indirectly, yes. Somebody messaged me the other day on Facebook saying, well, they've lost Medusa, they've lost, whoever else it was. But don't underestimate how important all you've got disappearing to how viable this lady is, because She-Hulk's value has just increased significantly in this game. A-Force are in a great position. They've got one of my favourite tactics cards in the entire game, which is, I don't know what it's called, Drop Off, Special Delivery. Is that the one? Yeah, Special Delivery. With an Angela, with a Marvel, right, with a Crystal. They've got some big powerhouses. They can go wide. Even with a 6 threat lead, they can go wide because of who they've got in affiliation. They can go tall if they need to. They've got some great objective players. Me and Quinn spoke about Angela and the value she brings. Add that in with with a special delivery, and it's crazy. Are they? In my head, I'm thinking it's A for Air Force, but do you think they deserve a top
think
spot?
They stray the line between A for A Force and S for superior weight training, but I think they stay in A for A Force.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they are. I think they're still a little bit unproven, aren't they? Yes, they've got some huge potential, and they're going to end up with some more characters in their roster as well over the next couple of months, and that may pump them up. But for the moment, they are in A tier. Defenders.
No, dear.
Now I'm going to say this: I really like Doctor Strange's leadership ability. The problem is
they've got no tactics cards anymore.
Everything with the defenders. Because if you were a defenders player, you played Pentagram's turn 1, right?
Yeah, that was just the thing you did.
And they can't anymore. So what are then your options? Well, we often speak, Quinn, don't we, about characters fall into 3 categories: support, control, and attrition. And really the same can be applied with affiliations as a whole, can't they? Or at least leadership and affiliations as a whole. And yes, some if not most toe the line of 2, but are usually stronger in 1. So, Brotherhood, you could argue, are an attrition list, but they've got some good control in there as well. Defenders, like, what are you going to do with them? Because they don't have...
I feel like they're all in on attrition now because they can target, like, the weakest defense. I mean, Strange, in and of himself, does all 3 pillars incredibly well.
He does, yes, he really does.
But, like, yeah, they're not in a good place. Like, I'm hoping that, like, this big announcement from AMG that's coming this month is going to be like, oh, new Asgard wave, a new Defenders wave, boom, have some tactics cards.
I really hope so, because they're in a bad spot. And it hates me to say, Quinn, that right now, with what we know, this is not a reflection on Strange, but D is for Defenders.
Oh, I want to go for C. I want to go for C.
They're straddling that line, aren't they?
They're straddling that line. I don't think they're in as bad a place as Asgard and Inhumans.
They've got characters.
That's what they've got. Really, really good affiliated characters.
And with those affiliated characters, actually some of those individual characters can bring have got some nice cards as well.
Yeah, like you bring Scarlet Witch, you bring Winds of Chaos. Boom, that's a card slot filled.
Yeah. Hulk. Let's not forget, Hulk is in Defenders, right? So Hulk is in Defenders.
Yeah, you're not taking Gamma Launch though, are you? Because that card's kind of dead.
No, but just as a character.
Yeah, just as a character
himself.
In there. So, yeah, it's great. Strange doesn't have to be a 6 threat in Defenders anymore. That's kind of nice.
Probably don't play him as a 6 threat.
I don't think so.
There's no real reason to. So, C is for.
Come on.
No, what?
Come on.
Cagliostro. What's the name? C is for
Crimson Bands of Cyttorak.
Crimson Bands of Cyttorak. There we go. I played a game with these guys last night. I'm loving them at the moment. Star-Lord, Guardians of the Galaxy. They feel like a brand new roster. They feel like a brand new affiliation. I know where I want to put them, but I'm going to get your opinion first, Quinn.
Okay, well, I just saw where your mouse went.
I just went anywhere.
They should solidly be in A.
Okay, that is more than acceptable for me. Yep. I think they have potential. I think they are 1 or 2 characters away from being very, very good. The one thing I like about Guardians is Lovable Misfits really rewards you for playing an all Guardian squad. Last night when I'm playing, I had the option of putting in Ghost Rider, and I chose not to.
What?
Because I got more value from having Rocket and Groot there alongside the other characters that I was taking in terms of a 5 threat in affiliation. So I really like them. They're definitely my second love in the game now after Brotherhood.
So A is for... You're going to have to edit this in because people don't want to have to listen to me attempt to sing abysmally. But you know the song that goes, hey, hey, you know that one? The one that's like, what's the matter with the blah, 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 blah.
Hey, oh,
yeah, that one.
What's the matter with your mind and your fine and your... Yeah. Oh, we're leaving all this in. No,
we're not.
Cyclops.
I mean, C is for Cyclops.
C is for Cyclops. What I will say is, and I've been banging this drum now for a little while, in that with every new release for the X-Men, the value of Scott goes up, and in particular the value of Scott's leadership goes up just a little bit every single time. But he still needs some work. he definitely still needs work as a leader and as a card, I think, as well. He suffers a bit from the old, actually probably worse than Cap was, because his leadership isn't great, and
Yeah, at least
his
Cap had
card
that
isn't.
going for it.
Yeah, his card isn't great. But yeah, I think they firmly go into C tier. Scott's counterpart, second leader of the X-Men, Storm. Now, what we've done previously would say, well, Storm is better than Scott, therefore she goes into B. I kind of think that she's not good enough for B, and she's sort of a C plus if Scott's a C.
Put her in a B. Put her in a B.
Really?
I think B, just because
her leadership is better.
Really cool for like the first couple of rounds. Like, if you're going to be playing X-Men, you're going to be playing with Storm. Like, that's just the reality of it.
Okay.
And B is for Blizzard.
Can I put Cable in D though? Yeah.
C for Cable.
No, D for Cable.
No, that's not the alphabet, Rich.
I don't think if we take X-Force, Cable as a leader, as a character, and X-Force as an entire affiliation are in a worse place than Defenders.
Probably yes.
D.
New releases may change that, but like that's like the caveat with everything, right?
Yeah, and we can't rank things based on what we don't know, right? A 2-threat in affiliation could be amazing for them. Some more 3 threats. A tweak to Cable's card. Watch my old video, AMG. Hey, I had a really cool idea for his builder. Just do that. Onto
whoa. D. It's the dirty work.
Dirty work, yes. On to my love, Brotherhood. 2 leaders. Magneto first. He's got a great leadership ability. He's got a good set of characters to choose from in affiliation. You probably want to take all affiliated characters with the exception of one, being Sabretooth. And even if you chose to take Sabretooth, he's not bad. Like, he can still do a job for you. It's just that there are probably other people who bring a bit more value. And again, we're talking specifically about Magneto's leadership here. Juggernaut has just increased the value of Magneto significantly. For me, A is for Asteroid M, and that's where they should belong.
What I was going for.
Yeah, that's where, they're not S tier, right? They're not S tier. What they do have, I would argue this with anyone over any other affiliation, is they have the best tactics cards in the game to choose from, to the point where if you turned up with your Brotherhood roster and you had no restricted cards in your list, I wouldn't be surprised, because I've been struggling to fit the restricted cards in with how many good tactics cards we've got. Again, not just for the affiliation, but for the characters that can then bring them as well. So super strong. Mystique, I'm not a big Mystique fan. I think I've made that very, very clear previously.
Oh, really, Rich?
I think she's most definitely the second leader, right? She's the second backup choice. And there are matchups and there are scenarios where she is the better of the two. I would actually say, looking at that top S tier list, it's against those kinds of rosters where she probably comes to the forefront a little bit more.
Just kill them all.
Just kill them all. She can go wider, which is obviously nice. She can leave a token on a back point, so meaning that it sort of frees up somebody that doesn't have to stay on that back point. I think she can do a solid job. For me, she's sort of C plus, B minus.
I'd go for C.
Yeah.
And C is for Chameleon.
There we go. Blade. Really, really nice leadership ability.
Really strong leadership, really good affiliated characters, really good cards.
Yeah.
But he himself isn't as good as a lot of these other leaders. Like, he relies exceptionally heavily on his own leadership to be, like, actually viable.
Yeah, which if you're going to be playing Blades, you're probably going to have access to that leadership, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in Midnight Suns. I mean, for me, and this is only for me, I feel like B is for Blood.
I feel like B is for Blade.
Yeah, well, Blade's obvious. Like that's.
Well, yeah, B is for Blade.
Hitting it on the nose.
Yeah, yeah.
So, guys, we're on to a strange one now, because we're now on to the Convocation affiliation. Now, as you guys may know, the difference they bring in this game is that any one of the affiliated characters or in affiliation characters can be the leader. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of them make good leaders. Now, Quinn, I'm going to hold my hands up, and I think you would also agree because we've spoke about this. Convocation is an affiliation that I'm yet to really work out. Like, yeah, I've tried.
The two of us really aren't Convocation masters like Aaron is.
No, not like Aaron. Aaron from Convocation Protocols, as I believe the channel is going to be renamed.
Yeah, he's doing a big rebrand, isn't he? Now that he's moving away from my voice.
For anyone,
we actually have a clip of him saying that he's going to be playing Convocation. We might insert that here. Actually,
it could get inserted here if we get the time. But
I was just going to say, actually, I'm really tempted to try Convocation. I do think they are like a sleeping giant. I really, really think they've got a lot of potential. You know, a couple of things for them. And I think if I owned any of them, I'd probably give them a run out, but I literally don't own a single one of them. So that's the only thing stopping me.
So what I thought my approach to this would be, Quinn, is, but I know what makes a good leader in terms of what they do and what they bring. So because their leadership ability is exactly the same, right? It's the double-sided tactics card. So I want to start with the Ancient One. 4 threat, very up close. She's got a lot of all of her attacks are sort of short range. I think range 2. There may be one at range 3. Defensively, she's got that martial artist thing. But I think if you wanted the Ancient One as your leader, if you weren't running some of the other characters, she can do an okay job. She's not going to get squashed immediately in the game, which obviously the moment your leader dies, then, or the moment you're KO'd, but you don't die in this game. The moment your leader's KO'd, you lose that leadership ability. So I think, just in terms of like survivability and the fact that if you're playing Convocation, you're probably going to want to keep her in your roster. It's probably a C or a C plus, B minus tier.
Yeah, I think B minus is probably the fairest, just because I think there are other Convocation leaders that are worse.
Yeah.
So B is for bald.
Whichever option you go with, whether it's
hood
or no hood. But I was thinking whether it was Taylor Swinton. I can never remember. Tilda Swinton, who played her in
not Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift did not play the Ancient One. Although there may have been less uproar. But we digress. Baron Morder, he's probably, again, he's another staple of Convocation, but he's very much a support character, isn't he, in terms of what he's going to be doing, which is okay because it means that he's probably not going to get squished turn 1, but I don't quite see him as being as viable as the Ancient One in terms of leadership. So
yeah,
probably a C tier.
I think C tier, and C is for Citrax Ferocity.
I don't think C is for Clear though. I mean, neither.
D is for Dark Dimension.
D is for Dark Dimension. Yeah, neither of us are a particularly big fan of Clear, and I don't think as the leader she's really going to be, because she needs to be up there in the action, and she's quite squishy, and not a great choice. A character.
D isn't for Dark Dimension. D is for Descendant of the Faltine.
Well, there we go. A character, however, who I do believe is a fairly reasonable choice for Convocation in terms of leader. Not the best by any stretch, but an okay choice is OG Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Now, we had him in Defenders being C in terms of where they were and things.
I think he's better off in Convocation, so I think B.
I think he's probably a B tier, isn't he, for that?
And then B is for Bolts of Devilment.
And then his alter ego counterpart, for me, is... And I think Convocation are going to end up being a very... Even with what we've got now, they're going to be a very, very strong affiliation. It's just that the ceiling to play them is going to be a lot higher, I think, than some of the other affiliations out there. I think you need a higher level of gaming understanding and mechanics and things to be able to play them, which I don't have. I don't think Convocation are S tier at the moment by any stretch, but I think under Sorcerer Supreme Strange, they can be an A tier affiliation.
Yeah, I would agree with A. A, of course, being for Armour of Strange.
There we go. Quinn, a character that you know quite a lot about. He's one of your firm favourites. He can hold a point. Can old Doctor Voodoo. He's a tanky boy. I think you're going to include him in your Convocation list more often than not. He's a solid leader, right? A solid leader choice for them.
Yeah, he's really solid. I don't know whether he's, Sorcerer Supreme level solid, but, as a character on his own, he's S tier. I think he goes into your Convocation roster every day of the week.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily want to make him your leader because that paints an even larger target on his back.
It does, yeah.
He's tanky, yes, with enough focus fire, he will die. Yeah,
depending on who you've got around you. So I think he's probably at the B tier in terms of wanting him as your leader.
Of course, being for Brother Daniel.
Brother Daniel, of course, yeah. Magik. I love Magik as a character. She's a really good 3-threat splash.
Yeah, I think she's really cool.
She should not be your leader.
No, I think she's in very much the Morder camp of C.
Okay.
C being for Colossus Sisters.
Your favourite 2-threat in the entire game.
Oh yes. Oh boy.
Look, guys, unless it's Nick Fury in S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's a 2-threat. 2-threats probably shouldn't be leaders. He'll just be destroyed.
Yeah. D is for don't.
D is for don't. I thought I'd leave two of the more centerpiece characters, shall we say, Quinn, until the very end. So starting with Thanos, Black Order. For all the changes that have happened with gems and other such things, I actually don't think Black Order are in anywhere near as bad a place as I thought they were going to be. I actually think the changes overall have helped them rather than hindered them. And my reasoning behind that is they've just freed up 4 slots in their roster. They've just gained 2 more tactics card slots. And all you're going to now see is dual affiliation Black Order.
Yeah, which I don't know if that directly buffs Black Order, but it does help those rosters that include Black Order.
I think Black Order are still very formidable. Again, 6 months ago, they were probably in the A+, S- type tier. Because if you wanted it, people could turn it with Black Order and win games if it was their first, win a tournament if it was their, 3rd ever game, because they were that good at murdering people. You can play around them a bit more now. I think they're still strong. I think they probably go into the sort of B+, A- tier.
No, I'd go for B, just because you do still need to know how to play Black Order and when to drop them.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
B, of course, being for Black Order. I'm not on this one.
That is on the nose. absolutely on the nose.
I've got a good one for the next one, though.
Surely B is for blood to spare.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll go with that. And of course, everyone, B is for blood to spare.
Of course, yes. I mean, we're just keeping the bit in that I said.
No.
Dark Dimension. What's good about Dark Dimension? First of all,
play any character you want.
The leadership is amazing. In that anyone is up for grabs. He only brings 2 tactics cards. One of them is very good. The other one is arguable whether you even include it in your 10. You probably include it in your 10, but it might not make your squad every single time. Dormammu's had some indirect buffs, hasn't he? He's one of the characters that has benefited. He's probably he is the largest net benefactor or net gainer from all of the changes to pushes and throws and everything, right? Because now there's only, I want to say, like 3 or 4 characters in the game that can even throw him. I think that's probably about right.
Something like that.
Groot, Thanos. I'm sure there's another 1 or 2 who can do it. Far fewer people now can push him.
Yeah.
There are still some, unrestricted pushers. Thanos, like Hulkbuster, Thanos being another one. I think you can mold the play style of Dark Dimension to be whatever you really want. You can try and buff Dormammu and have him go around and stomp people, or you can really have other characters around him that do damage themselves. You could quite easily take, Rocket and Groot and Corvus and Proxima and everything else. It gives you so much flexibility in terms of who you can play. I think he probably sits right in the middle at that B tier in terms of how good he is and what his affiliation do and how competitive they are at the moment.
Yeah. And of course, to finish this all off, B is for Dormammu. I've come to bargain.
So B is for bargain. Is that what you're saying? Right. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Cool. Well, guys, that's it. That's our list. That is our, we're ranking every leader in their affiliation and how they play. There's definitely some winners and losers from the changes. The big loser, I would say, or the big 2 losers, I would say, in all of these, Quinn, are Defenders and Asgard. Defenders who were, I would say, strong before.
They were A tier, I think.
Have dropped down significantly. Asgard, who were not very good previously, as an affiliation with Thor as the leader. That's the sort of criteria. If everybody else around you gets better and you get nothing, you are inherently worse. And that's really what's happened for Asgard, isn't it?
Yeah, big time.
So yeah, there we go, guys. Let us know down in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you really pissed with me and Quinn that we've put your favourite convocation leader, Wong, in D tier? Do you think Cable should
also, down below, comment what was your favourite letter of the alphabet.
Yes, let us know which was your favourite letter of the alphabet, children. But no, like I said, this was one that was I wasn't intending on doing tier lists back to back each week, but a number of people reached out and asked for this one, so we've put it up there. These are just our thoughts, guys. The one thing, and I always want to say this because it's really, really important, these are the thoughts of 2 idiots, right?
Whoa. One idiot.
One idiot and me, right? These are the thoughts of an idiot and me. Play whatever you want to play, right? A good player who understands how X-Force can work could take Cable and X-Force to a tournament and win. Absolutely no doubt in my mind that is possible. Wong leading convocation is maybe a different conversation, but don't look at this list and go, oh well, Rich and Quinn said Hulkbuster's a C, therefore, even though I really enjoy playing with him, as my leader, I'm only ever going to play Sam now. Don't do that, guys. You play what you want to play.
Yeah,
but as I say,
why
this
the
is
fuck would you
just
listen to Rich
don't listen to any of us content creators. We're all idiots. None of us even know how to.
Oh, I'm not a content creator. I'm not part of this.
Or you've jumped off that band, but
I've never claimed to be a content creator. I've always been an influencer.
But guys, let us know down in the comment section below what you think. Things that I should always mention. Discord, make sure you head over there. There's about over 200 of us now on the server. It's a really fun space. I'll give you another reminder, guys, for the Weekly Bugle. We're now going to open it up so you can submit your questions. You can submit your rosters, and me and Quinn will take a look through your rosters as well. So any social media or anything, just send me a message on there and we'll try and include that in the show. And yeah, as always, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.
See you.